Hello everybody, Riffraff Hornhelm back again with another presentation from the Dwarven Vault, and today we have yet another monster review. And in the progression of things we've been looking at, this makes the most sense. So today it's hobgoblins. Now, we've talked about goblins and we've talked about kobolds and orcs, and hobgoblins are really the last of the low-level humanoid evil underground dwelling creatures that were entry level for Dungeons and Dragons or Advanced Dungeons and Dragons from the original Monster Manual, as released in, depending on where you were, either late 1977 or very early 1978. And this is what it was in the beginning. Yes, I know. All of this has changed over the years, and really, in a lot of ways, goblins in particular, really all of these have changed in substantial ways, such that they bear only passing resemblance to the way they were originally. So a hobgoblin is a goblin writ large. They're a little bit nastier. Instead of being one hit die -1, these are one hit die +1. They're a little bit taller. They tend to stand about 6 to 7 feet tall. They're slightly more intelligent, and they are often used as the whips to drive orcs or goblins, and you'll often find a hobgoblin in some kind of either supervisory position or leader for a group. But really, after that, they're pretty much the same as a goblin. They do more damage if they're not using a weapon. Otherwise, it's by weapon type. They use similar armor to a goblin, and of course, they speak similar languages to the goblin, with an emphasis on Orcish as well, because the orcs also use hobgoblins to help look after larger groups of orcs, to kind of keep them in line and chivvy them along. So hobgoblins, of course, are slightly more powerful than orcs or goblins, and as a result, they're kind of the king, if you will, of the low-level creatures that inhabit a dungeon, that walk on 2 legs, have some sort of ability to interact with things around them. They have some intelligence, they have some control through tribal society and so forth. And all of them, to one degree or another, can be used to advance your plot from a DM standpoint. And because they're the most powerful of this bunch, they're the ones that are most likely to give your players more of a hard time. Now, hobgoblins are, once again, just a giant goblin, if you will. And because of that, they're not really any different. The difference is in the size and the slight improvement that you get over a regular goblin, or for that matter, an orc. As the king of this group, that's not saying very much. They're still a very easy creature to kill. 1.5, maybe a 2. Some of the hobgoblins who are chieftains can have better weapons and better armor and more hit points, and they can give your characters much more of a fight than, you know, your average run-of-the-mill hobgoblin can. Still not a tough creature. So, like I said, from a DM's perspective, maybe a 1.5 or 2. From the player's perspective, they say about the same. I did have somebody say that when you run into one of their chieftains, he would rank that like a 3. So, still not a very tough opponent. Now, the hobgoblins can definitely advance more on the plot side because they have a little bit more intelligence, and they tend to be in positions of some authority. They're usually, you know, looking after a squad or a platoon or something like that of orcs or goblins, or maybe they're one of the leaders of a goblin tribe that has, 100 members or something like that. So they can be used a lot more for the ability to transfer information, to provide focal points for your characters, for any of the dungeons that you're operating in. That part's kind of nice. But having said that, this entire group, once again, there's nobody here by themselves that you really have to worry about. It's only in a group when they're effective, and the hobgoblins will make any of the groups of these other creatures, well, except kobolds, they're pretty useless, but will make them more effective and more interesting in a actual encounter. So that's our view of hobgoblins. Once again, if you enjoyed what you saw, please give us a like, consider subscribing, but do come back and see us again soon. And remember, dwarves rock!